Thomas here at the Frank Irwin Center in Austin, Texas. As you saw, Shannon Miller getting some last-minute comments from her coach as she gets ready for her apparatus. As we take a look at our standings after the first rotation, Shannon Miller currently in second, J.C. Phelps in the third place as a result of her score at the U.S. Nationals. Here's Shannon.
And the first thing we're going to look for here is her signature move. It's called the Miller. And here it comes. It's a giant full pirouette, but she hops it around completely into an immediate release move, a Ginger. She caught that pretty close to the bar. Notice she had to bend her arms. It's another full pirouette. And her second release move, a Tkachev. Shannon gives very little away in terms of deductions. She doesn't have any form breaks typically. And her dismount, she's working a full out, but that's a full in back out to a perfect landing. The only problem I saw with that routine was the release move was caught a little closer than she normally does.
We'll take this opportunity to point out that Amy Chow's vault score on her second attempt was lower than her first, so she did in fact earn the 9.837 when you add the bonus on the vault.
Okay. All right, good handstands at the end.
And as we go back to the vault now in the second rotation, Dominique Moceanu getting ready, the youngest senior national champion ever.
Watch this little wonder explode into the air. This is Yurchenko, 1.5. Excellent push, lots of distance, and a great landing, and you can hear Bella in the background.
That was a good one. But we can do better than this. We can do better than this. Just a little more hollow here, okay? Yeah.
He wants her to.
The second part too. All right? One more time.
He wants her to anticipate the landing a little bit better. Here's her round off. She is so powerful. Watch for her push off of the horse right there. Up. So much height, so much distance, great body position, straight, and a little hop on the landing. But what a vault. So look at it from this angle. She does a back handspring, so much height. Excellent. That vault is so difficult to land because it's completely blind, the landing. Again, the floor comes before you actually get a chance to see it. And you can see this. She doesn't get to see the floor until it's at her feet.
Well, she certainly finishes with a flare as she hustles herself back to the start of the runway, awaiting the scores for the first vault before attempting her second.
That vault is valued at a perfect 10-0.
And a 9.925 to start, and if she does a different vault, she gets the 10-point bonus. She's going to get more than 10.
But no, she will perform the same vault since it is a 10-0. She really doesn't need that.
9.837.
You're now ready for the second
for Shannon Miller on the uneven bars.
Now she is going to be focusing on the landing here. And a better landing. That was an incredible vault.
Is it possible she can score higher than the 9.925 we just saw?
Anything is possible. I believe so. Didn't look like she got as much distance on that vault from this angle.
What a smile.
Let's take another look at it from overhead. And a closer look. Watch for her push off of the horse. Tight, straight, pencil straight body position. That was a beautiful vault. I think that was a better vault.
Shannon Miller just received her mark, 9.837 for the bars. And the woman who defeated Shannon Miller last year at the National Championships, Dominique Dawes, is the next competitor on the bars out of Silver Springs, Maryland. Awesome Dawson. Won 5 gold medals at last year's National Championships. First time that's happened in a very long while. Sullivan Award finalist in '94.
It's very important to realize that she has a wrist injury, a stress fracture in her wrist, and on this event, it's very painful for her. Here's her release move. So much height. Same thing. She kind of got a little closer than normal. She's been consistently adding more difficulty on this event. Very consistent performer. Nice uprise to handstand, and her dismount is a full out. The full is on the second somersault, which makes it more difficult. Come on. That looks like a full in this time. From this angle, a full in is worth a D, whereas a full out is worth an E, and you get 2/10 of extra bonus for that.
While Dominique awaits her score, I can point out that Moceanu's mark, a 9.962 on the second vault, a great one.
And nope, it was a full out. From this angle, clear to see she did the twist on the second somersault. Another angle for her dismount. She does the first flip, and then on the second flip, she twists it, which makes it more difficult. That was a beautiful routine.
Back to the vault. Carrie Strug. We saw her do well in the uneven bars earlier with a good routine. Here she comes, her first attempt.
A round-off entry, half layout front. What a vault. That was beautiful. Excellent body position and a great landing. Good strong run. Round off, watch for her push off the horse, and her straight body position anticipates the landing and stands it up well. This is very difficult to land because it's a blind move. This vault is valued at a 9.9. It was recently devalued. It used to be a 10. Excellent job.
Mociano, interestingly enough, on her second vault was in fact better than her first. In fact, one of the judges even gave it a perfect 10. But her final score there is going to be a 9.962, almost flawless. And Strug has chosen to do just the one vault, accepting that perfect landing and the score that it will produce. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
She's 13 years old, and she spends 4 hours every day.
We're back now with more of rotation number 2 of the optionals in the World Gymnastics Championship trials. Donnie Thompson, we saw her over on the bars do well. Here comes her attempt in the vault. Carrie Strug earned a 9.85 on her first vault and chose not to bother with the second. She's taking that score.
She will be doing 2 different vaults. A handspring front, not very high valued vault. It's only worth a 9.7. Again, she's having stiffness in her lower back. A lot of discomfort that she's suffering right now. This is not her normal vault. I think that she's just making amends because of her physical condition. Handspring on, a good push off the horse, a little bit close to the horse, a little bit more distance, but a pretty good vault. Again, the maximum value she could score is a 9.7, so that's the problem with this vault. It's called the pre-flight. Good heel drive, nice push off of the horse, but not too much distance. She will only take one vault to basically save her body because her back is really hurting her.
I've got to ask, though, for the last 2 gymnasts only doing one vault, do you think the Katie Teft incident earlier tonight might have had something to do with this?
I don't think that it does, really. I think this is a unique situation because these 2 gymnasts are injured. For Carrie Strug, there was no need for her to take another vault. That was a 9.9 value vault. She scored a 9.85.
Great marks indeed. So we go over to the uneven bars. We're getting ready for Amy Chow. I should let you know that Dominique Dawes' bar routine earned her a 9.775. And Amy Chow, we said, is on the bubble. Probably going to move up a little bit here. Let's see what she does on the most dynamic.
Wait till you see what she pulls out of her bag of tricks on this event. She is known as the trickster in the sport of gymnastics. She takes so many risks in all of her routines. She's really incredibly talented. But with risk sometimes comes inconsistency, and I think becoming a consistent gymnast is Amy's toughest trick so far.
Donnie Thompson, 9.462, the score for her on the vault.
Remember, that vault was only worth a 9.7. Last year, Amy finished 5th all around at this competition, going on to the World Championships in Dortmund, Germany. She's on the bubble this year because she had some problems at the National Championships on her optional beam routine. And so this meet is even more important for her. There's more pressure on her to do well so that she can remain among the top 7 and go on to the World Championships in Sabai, Japan.
One of the many things that impresses me about Amy Chow, in addition to all the time she has to spend in the gym to be this good on a national level, she also spends enough time sitting at the keyboard. She is a piano prodigy, has played concerts and recitals, even competitions. And in addition to that, she spends some of her summer months clowning around on the diving board. So all around, in addition to the 4.0 grade average she has at school, just an everything child.
And she's really incredibly modest. One of her teachers says she doesn't think she's very special at all. She's just like one of the kids. There's a front stalder to a pirouette, another immediate front stalder to a back stalder release. Unbelievable. Obviously, she's very comfortable in that stalder position. There's her first release move, a pike Jaeger, an E element. And this is the biggest part of her routine. She does a double dismount, 2 twists, 2 flips, and an excellent landing. She normally lands very low with her chest, and that was much better than earlier today in warm-ups. And that's a big smile from Amy Chow. That routine is packed with difficulty. I mentioned that gymnasts need to have 2 release moves. This actually counts as a release move. And here is her piked Jaeger. Very nicely done. A little separation of the legs there into an immediate packed salto, another release. This routine is jam-packed with difficulty, and her dismount, get a load of this. She's going to do 2 flips, 2 twists. There's a lot of stuff happening there. A little bit low with her chest on the landing, but not a big deduction at all. Right, honey.
Remarkable performance from a remarkable young lady, just 17 years of age, hails from San Jose, California. I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot more about Amy Chow. With that performance, that takes Amy Chow halfway through tonight's optionals competition. We'll be back with standings and scores as action continues here from Austin, Texas. Welcome back to the McDonald's World Team Trials of Gymnastics as we select a squad to represent the U.S. at the World Championships in Japan later this year. We're halfway through the optional competition. Amy Chow, by the way, earned a 9.837 on her uneven bars as we look at one of perhaps the most charismatic characters in gymnastics. The bear of a coach from Romania, now a transplanted Texan. Bela Karolyi was a fascinating study as he announced his retirement from the sport after the Barcelona Olympics, but something brought him back. Let's learn more about this gymnastics legend.
When you think of women's gymnastics, you think of Bela Karolyi. With the success of Komenich, Retton, and Zimiskal, only the disappointment of 1992 could send Bela packing.
Well, the retirement happened in 92. It's not actually the result of 92, but it was a growing frustration in my heart. The way how the whole 92 selection was done, the way how they mishandled the great otherwise rivalry between Shannon at that time and Kim Zimiskal. And also the outcome, the way how was the selection done, wasn't done the right way. And that gave me a lot of frustration. Of course, you know, my greatest frustration was watching my own athletes so frustrated and so much hurting. And with their frustration, I went to that point to say, yes, probably that's the end of my high-performance coaching career.
Bela's back with that same drive and enthusiasm that served him well in years past. Back with a mix of youth and maturity, he now begins his quest for the 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta.
And that was when Kim Zimiskal decided after that very, very spectacular and also controversial Winter Olympic Games, not that Tanya Harding was the one who determined her to come back, but the great performance of the older girls. And Katarina Witt, the one who was so much visible, and her performance was so full with dignity, with grace, with maturity. I believe inspired very, very much our older generation of gymnasts, among them Kim Zimiskal.
Although he came out of retirement with the more mature athlete in mind, it's the young prodigy that has everyone talking.
Dominique is a young person. I wish we could keep her as enjoying the sport more on the childish and more youthish, enthusiastic way rather than the hard competitive way. I hope she will still have the energy to grow into an even more difficult stage, performing even more difficulties on the floor, because that's going to be a very, very necessary ingredient in the future.
Do you need total control of these athletes in order to make them successful?
The control is in this country is not the way like we used to have back in old times.
True or false, you don't allow them to cry?
To cry? No, that's a human emotion that can come out anytime in any momentum.
True or false, are these kids, do you call your kids names?
No.
No. True or false, are these kids on strict diets and are monitored daily?
I wish, they would have a better monitoring system, but as long as they stay with the parents, there is absolutely no restricted diet.
Flat out, are you softening up?
I don't believe, many times, the expression came back, you mellowed down, you softening up, or you that's sturdy and very, very specific individual like you've been running your workouts before. No, I don't believe, there's any change on that one.
Bella's peers see a difference in him, as well as a positive new direction for women's gymnastics.
I can't speak for Bella, but I have seen a change in him over the years and adapting to the American system. I think the American system has adapted, and we've all changed over the years to the things that we need to do in gymnastics as the sport has progressed.
Well, I think you can see it's changed because we have more older athletes than ever before. And I think Bella just got a nice, hot little kid at the right time. And I don't think he was out looking for her. I think she was just there. But I think if he still had older kids, he would be pushing, like he is with Kim. He's pushing her to a point. But I think the sport now is more allowing the older kids than ever before.
With Bella Karolyi's return to gymnastics, you can rest assured the U.S. team will fare well internationally. John?
Thanks a lot, Kurt Mara. Let me ask you, should more American coaches be copying Bella's style in order to get the same results?
Actually, I think that different coaching styles work for different athletes, but you have to wonder what the world would be like in gymnastics if there were two Bella Karolyis. The interesting thing is, I know that the United States gymnastics is certainly glad he's back coaching, and not without a new rising star.
It'll be interesting to see how his athletes continue to do. When we return, it's rotation number 3, athletes on the floor exercise and the balance beam. Stay with us. Winner for more of the 1995 McDonald's World Team Trials, John Neighbor along with Mara Driscoll and Kurt Thomas as we watch the women competing for 7 spots at the World Championship Team competition in Japan. As we take a look at our standings with 2 rotations remaining, Mochianu still leads Shannon Miller. J.C. Phelps, on the basis of her scores from the U.S. Nationals alone, has moved ahead of Dominique Dawes. Now, Dawes wanting to get into one of those top 3 spots.
If there were ever an opportunity for her to do it, it is on this event. This is where she earned the nickname Awesome Dawson. Get ready to watch her first tumbling pass. It's what made her famous. It's an elongated tumbling pass. It just keeps going. Not done yet. I've never seen her miss that. That is a 5/10 deduction, very rare, but it's important to remember she's injured, her ankle, her wrist. She's dealing with these nagging injuries.
Dominique earned her first perfect 10 in the floor exercise in the dual meet against Japan. Big landing.
Very nice second tumbling pass. Pull in the pike position. Part of Dominique's routine. She actually considered scratching from this event at the National Championships during the finals competition, but decided to compete and then came away with the gold medal. Her 3rd total, her 2nd in a row. Last tumbling pass, 2.5 twists. She does look a little bit sluggish. A disappointing floor routine for Dominique Dawes. I've never seen her miss that. And a disappointing look on Coach Kelly Hill's face.
So much is expected of you once you turn in a perfect
All right,
10.
good try. Good comeback with the rest of the set. You held your face together, you got back up, and you finished through. It's a nice performance. Still trouble with the block. You feeling it? Because you're twisting from a pipe shape. You don't feel it? Don't worry about it. We'll fix it.
We'll get a chance to look at exactly what Kelly Hill was talking about. When she says block, that means push off of the ground. She's saying, here it comes. This is 2 whips into a double full, into an immediate punch front. Very difficult to change directions there. Now, here comes the problem. She does 2.5 twists. Watch her landing. She's a little piked. She doesn't get up enough and sits it down. This is her last tumbling pass, a 2.5 twist. Again, a little sluggish, a little off to the side, but she did recover well with her 2 other tumbling passes after suffering the 5/10 deduction in the fall.
As soon as we get some scores, we will continue.
Dominique went off to the locker room as Kelly Hill awaits the official's score. While we await the score, let's show you a routine that occurred earlier on the balance beam. Donnie Thompson, herself in the running for a spot, currently in 8th place.
Donnie Thompson with a difficult mount, a front on to the beam. She recently captured the U.S. gold on the balance beam. She shared the title with another former junior, Monica Flammer. Here's her tumbling pass. Back handspring, layout, step up, back handspring. Very nice job so far. And a punch front into, she normally does it into an immediate jump, but she had to recover there. She was a little off, and there's the jump. Donnie works very well on this event. She has good pacing and technique. A double turn that is much more difficult than it looks. It is a D element. Gymnasts earn bonus on this event by doing special connections, combinations, and doing extra D and E elements. In gymnastics, skills are valued on a scale from A to E. A being the most basic element and E being the most difficult. And here's her dismount, 2 back handsprings into a double full. A nice routine, a little bit watered down for her.
And that score for her on the beam, a 9.212. We'll be back with more third rotation action after this. Welcome back as Dominique Dawes completed her floor exercise routine. She's now dressing in her sweats. The score from the judges, a 9.25 when you count the 5/10 deduction for sitting down on the mat. Now on the floor exercise, Amy Chow, the young all-around superstar, piano, academics, all sports. Her mom wanted to start her out in ballet, but they didn't offer it for 3-year-olds, and that's how she found the sport of gymnastics.
On this event, it's no different from any other. She has an incredible amount of difficulty in all of her tumbling passes. First, half in, half out, that was amazing. Very well done. I didn't see her warm that up. Amy has been working on her artistic impression, really dancing to the fullest and being able to express her gymnastics, express her personality through her gymnastics. Here she does a whip through to a triple full. Nice job, very difficult.
A little ballet there.
You notice she looks a little uncomfortable with the whole performance aspect of this.
She's naturally shy off the apparatus.
Absolutely. Her coach, Mark Young, has been working with her since she was about 5 years old. He said to this day, he still only gets about 5 words out of her. Final tumbling run. A front through to a triple full. Didn't quite get it all the way around, but at the end of routine, that says a lot for her stamina.
She's definitely a comer. Finished 5th at the 1994 Nationals, an 18-place improvement from her performance the year before.
9.387 on floor. And for Mahini Bhardwaj, a 9.587.
Mara, as you once said, the athletes who do well here are very likely to be the nucleus of our Olympic team next year. It would be nice to see her in Atlanta.
That is true, and we're going to take another look at some of her tumbling. This is where her strengths are. Her first tumbling pass, watch this, a half in, half out.
Up next
To a great landing, so much height on that first tumbling pass. That's very difficult to do. The only one in the meet that we'll see. This is her last pass, a front through to a triple twist at the end of the routine. That's 3 twists all the way around. Didn't quite get it all the way around, but a great job.
We'll have Amy Chow's score on the floor exercise when we return for more action in Austin, Texas. Stay with us. Welcome back for more of the World Team Trials in Austin, Texas. The score for Amy Chow's floor exercise routine, a 9.425. And a nice smile from her as well. Dominique Moceanu's next, and I got to tell you, to me, she appears to have the best of many of the sport's top stars. The powerful body of Kim Zmeskal, the graceful face of Nadia Comaneci, the winning personality of Mary Lou Retton. Each of these, by the way, was coached by Bella Caroli, as is she.
There's a new kid on the block. At age 13, she became the youngest ever to win the U.S. National Championships, earning her a ticket to the World Championship Trials. Dominique Moceanu now has a real shot at becoming the next superstar in women's gymnastics.
Our teams one step at a time, and I took each event. And at the end, the floor, I was like, this is great. This is going to be a good event. I'm last, and I can do it. And it was fun because I did it, you know, floor, and it was just all exciting after.
A veteran of 10 years in the gym, Dominique got started early. Camelia, we heard that you contacted Bella when Dominique was 3 years old. Is that true?
When she was very young, my husband called him and told him about Dominique, and he said that we can wait a little bit until she grows older, and then we can bring her here. Dimitri was very optimistic, and he always believed that she will do good in gymnastics. And first of all, we made a commitment, like our first child, we put him in gymnastics. If it's a boy or a girl, it doesn't matter.
And what a dynamo developed. Mature beyond her years, Dominique grasped the opportunity when it knocked.
I saw, like, when I was vaulting, maybe by the corner of my eye, I saw her fall, and I was like, you know, everybody went, ooh, or, you know, whoa. And I was like, uh-oh, you know, feel bad for her, but, you know, this is my chance to get ahead, maybe.
And get ahead she did. Following a tremendous floor exercise routine, Dominique Moceanu propelled herself to the front of the pack in the run for Atlanta.
Yeah, clearly, this young woman is enjoying some early success. Not only the youngest national qualifier, but also the youngest ever to earn a junior national team spot. She did this when she was 10. Right. Coming up, a beam routine, and if her compulsory performance is any indication, we're in for a thrill.
She was amazing last night in the compulsory competition. She has so much talent and incredible confidence on the balance beam, which is very rare for a young athlete. You can see her scores so far on bars and vaults, as we reported earlier she needs on this event.
9.75.
Stay ahead of Shannon Miller.
Dominique Moceanu.
She does an interesting shoulder stand mount here. Very fun and interesting. Watch her upper body movements. Precise and exact, very deliberate and confident. This is her flight series. She had some problems at nationals during finals. A little bit out of line there. She let her hip go out of line. Slight deduction. This, of course, is the great equalizer, the balance beam in the sport of gymnastics. Requires so much mental concentration and focus. Punch front, very nicely done. You can get a good look at that 4-inch balance beam from this angle. Marta Caroli coaches her here. And she's very demanding, which is why Dominique is so impressive on this event. No holding back there. A beautiful switch leg side lead. And setting up for her dismount, a round off double tuck. And a nice landing. A little bit of a hop, but a very nice routine.
Big smile from Bella.
You rushed a little bit at the beginning, Domi. Yes. Yeah, but that's was ill.
And there's Marta assessing exactly what happened. Let's watch her first tumbling pass, the acrobatic series. She does a back handspring into 3 consecutive layouts. 1, 2, and 3. She has trouble getting that second foot in and doesn't get as much lift. That's exactly what happened during finals at championships. You see she let her hips get out of the line. Probably a 2/10 deduction there. And her dismount, a round off into a double back, nice height, sees the ground, and lands it a little teeny hop.
At the start of her routine, we mentioned she needs a 9.75 to keep the lead. That's because Shannon Miller turned into a wonderfully elegant floor routine just a few moments ago. Because of the magic of videotape, we can bring it to you now. 3 gold medals this year at the Pan Am Games, and Shannon Miller has lost none of her competitive drive.
She was the '93 world champion on the floor exercise. She recently finished 3rd at the national championships, where she performed this new routine that we'll see here.
And it was elegant, wasn't it?
It was a more sophisticated and mature Shannon Miller. Very classical and pretty. Here comes her first of 4 tumbling passes. A whip back through to a full twisting double back in the pike position. Beautiful landing. And second tumbling pass, Shannon Miller goes above and beyond here, doing 4 tumbling passes where most other gymnasts are only doing 3. Front handspring, front double full. An E element. The most difficult in gymnastics. She'll take a big breather here for her huge last tumbling pass. She ends this routine with a full in. And there it is. What a performance by Shannon Miller. And a wave to her fans.
And you can hear Steve Nuno. He's thrilled with that routine. And in fact, it was a fantastically well-received routine.
All right.
And the judges gave her a 9.9, a great score for a beautiful floor exercise.
Take a look at her first tumbling pass. She does a whip back through to a full twisting double back in the pike position. Very difficult, a little floppy in the leg, but she lands it and stands it up very well. Again, she performed 4 tumbling passes, a true testament to her toughness and her physical stamina. This is her last tumbling pass. So difficult to end a routine with a full in. A great job.
Very enthusiastic crowd responded when they saw the official 9.9 from the judges, and that in fact set the scene. Luciana, remember, needed a 9.75 to keep her lead. The mark's 9.737, so Shannon Miller takes the lead for the first time with 1 rotation remaining. Who had an unfortunate occurrence as she mounted the beam in the 3rd rotation. She began in 7th place, but because she had trouble right out of the chute, she dropped off the beam and off the team, earning an 8.7 for that unfortunate mistake. And so it sets the scene as we enter the final rotation. As we look at our standings, Look at the margin. Shannon Miller over Dominique Moceanu by 1/1000th of a point. And Donnie Thompson now in 8th place, just off the team behind her teammate.
Score for Mary Beth Arnold on full exercise, 9 points.
So now here's Shannon Miller, her final attempt, her final rotation. She is leading the field by 1/1000th, the smallest margin possible. Our leader for the first time in the competition. Her last performance, a balance beam.
This event has been her Achilles heel lately. She missed at the national championships. It cost her the all-around title. She also fell at the American Cup and had some problems at the Pan Am Games. So she is well aware of the risks on this event, and it's extremely important for her at this very moment. She's flowing so nicely. She looks beautiful on the balance beam.
She considers it one of her favorites.
She is the 94 world champion in this event. That was a gainer layout step out, and she kept her back leg up, which is very difficult to do. Here's the elements. Here's the flight series she had problems with at nationals. 3 layouts in a row. She only threw 2 of them. She was supposed to do a 3rd layout. Obviously playing it safe to keep the lead. At least an attempt to keep the lead. Beautiful back handspring forward.
She knows she has to outscore Moceanu's floor routine still to come.
And she's a very smart and confident competitor. Her dismount is a huge full in. Let's see if she throws it. She does. To a perfect landing. A beautiful routine outside of not throwing her last layout.
What might that have cost her in points? Is there a deduction there, lowering the start value?
It's not lowered. I don't believe that it will lower the start value. She doesn't have as much difficulty as backup.
Well, Nuno certainly pleased by that performance.
Super. That little hesitation on that layout, huh? Other than that, perfect set. Beautiful Miller.
And here's her tumbling pass, back handspring. There's one layout and another. It looks like she's off a little to the right. Absolutely, and she didn't want to go for that 3rd layout. And here's her dismount. A full twisting double back. And she nails this landing. Right on.
Clearly, any penalty as a result of not doing the 3rd was worth the price, because she clearly would have fallen had she done the 3rd layout. We'll have the score for Shannon Miller's beam routine when we return. Still to come, Dominique Moceanu on floor.
9.337. Your next competitor on floor.
And a slight smile on the face of Shannon Miller. Her score revealed a 9.912. Remarkable earning on the balance beam, and puts the pressure squarely on the shoulders of the 13-year-old Dominique Moceanu. The lowest score she can get from the judges and still be the top earner here is a 9.925. Now, there is no gold medal awarded at the trials. The best you can get is a ticket to Japan. But that notwithstanding, this young lady wants to leave this meet is the best there is.
That's certainly the truth, and it's going to be very difficult for her to make up that margin on this event. This is actually her weakest event, though one of her favorites. Bella says she needs to upgrade her tumbling and has to improve on this event.
Crowd definitely into this.
Absolutely. She certainly sparkles and has an energy that's captivating.
Looks pretty flawless right here.
She's having a lot of fun. She certainly knows how to pull a crowd in. A beautiful last tumbling run. And the crowd loves it.
You know, Bella's fighting for a 10.0. He's arguing it's worth every penny.
That's coming out from here.
She actually upgraded her tumbling. She had 4 tumbling passes. That's something she did not do at the national championship.
He's arguing for her start value, isn't he? Oh, look at that smile.
While we're waiting for the score for Dominique, another one of Bella Caroli's outstanding.
Get a closer look at one of her tumbling passes. This is her middle pass. She does a front pull to an immediate front layout and a big bounce. That was actually her 3rd tumbling pass. She did complete 4 tumbling runs. And her last tumbling pass, 2.5 twists to an immediate punch front. She just drops out of the sky.
A quick reminder that we will be having an award ceremony following competition this evening.
As we await the score, Dominique Moceanu is done for the day. Clearly, she's off to Japan next. Did she win another title here? Was she able to retake the lead from Shannon Miller?
John, they made some adjustments in her routine from the national championship, so that could be enough to make the difference.
Very patiently waiting. It's almost as if she doesn't care what the scores are. Clearly, the judges are concerned about the start value, making sure all their calculations are correct. 9.925 will win, or will retake the lead and be the best performance overall after the weighted values of the national scores are tallied. And she does it. She does it. A 9.95. Remarkable. Almost a flawless performance and good enough to retake the title, the lead here at the World Team Trials. So the young 13-year-old goes past the 5-time Olympic medal winner Shannon Miller in the final rotation. When we return, we'll see who else makes this team.
When you come to World of Wheels on Route 1...
We're back for the final routine in the 4th rotation for Donnie Thompson, who, due to some judging, dropped out of the team in the last rotation. Kulikowski, her teammate, Teresa, is now in 7th place. For Donnie to pass her by, she needs that 9.55 you saw on the screen on the floor exercise to make the World Championship team.
She has been plugging through this competition all night with a back injury. Donnie is a very stylish performer. She has a lot of poise for such a young athlete.
Earned a gold at the Pan Ams this year with the U.S. team.
She says she prays every night about making the Olympic team. A lot of athletes share her dream, but only 7 will be placed on the World Championship team tonight, taking the first steps toward that ultimate goal.
She looks a lot like Amanda Borden, one of the U.S. national team members who withdrew from competition this year.
Just for this competition, Amanda is sorely missing from this meet. She's a 3-time World Championship team member, and she will be missed in Sabai, Japan. She's out with a toe injury, but she's not out for the long haul, so she'll be back in action in '96. The last tumbling pass, a 2.5 twist. A very nice performance. This could take her into that 7th place slot over her teammate right there, Teresa Kulikowski.
Both of them training in Colorado Springs. Teresa put into the 7th place position at the start of the rotation. Donnie, who's named after an uncle Don who passed away at an early age. She needs a 9.55 to place her on the competing squad that's heading to Japan.
Awesome. Every one of you did exactly what you needed to do.
Take a look at her last tumbling pass here. Not as much difficulty, but remember, she's been suffering with this injury. It's a 2.5 twist. A little problem on the landing. Tough to land because it's a blind move, but a pretty performance.
Clearly a moment of high drama as she's awaiting the scores, as are we.
Certainly a look of relief on her face that this competition is over. She really had to slug it out.
And nothing to be disappointed in the routine itself, though the scores may prove a little disappointing. We'll find out in just a moment. And if they're not disappointing for Donnie, they will be disappointing for Teresa Kulikowski. Herself, no slouch in this sport, getting as close as she has. And the judges' marks a 9.65, and yes, that's good enough, placing Donnie Thompson on the World Championship team. So congratulations due to her, as she has earned an airplane ticket. Teresa will go as the alternate. We'll be back with more wrap-up in just a moment. Welcome back to the result page of the McDonald's World Team Trials. Dominique Moceanu eking out the victory over Shannon Miller in the final rotation. This is your final standings and the team that will represent the U.S. at the World Championships in Japan. Our own Kurt Thomas is down on the floor with the great Bella Caroli and his rapidly rising young star.
Well, congratulations, champ. Did you know how close you were going into the last event, 1/1000th of a point?
Yeah, I saw it like after I finished floor, but I didn't know right when I was going into it. So I was ready for floor. I was excited to do it, and then I went out and did it. So
You had a hamstring problem. How did it feel out there?
it was fine. It was warmed up. You know, I kept moving it, and I warmed it up pretty good. And Bella helped, you know, rub it a little bit, and so it was fine.
It seemed like the more the routine went on, the more you just got psyched. Is that the case?
Yeah, it was really fun. I enjoyed it a lot. It was good.
Great, congratulations. Bella, you talked about her not peaking so soon. Will you take it?
Well, unfortunately, we're picking, but I'm very glad. I'm very glad the way how she's competing, and really tonight she showed her personality, which is a fighter, and that was very, very different than I ever experienced before with her. She really turned a tremendous aggressive athlete, and she showed on the last event, and that was more than I expected. I'm very happy.
You have any new tricks in your bag for when you go over to Japan?
Yeah, we do. We do a very, very interesting combination on the bar, and also we're going to add to the floor routine too.
Well, keep going, guys. You're looking great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Back to John.
And congratulations certainly due to the young Dominique Moceanu. When we return, we'll take a moment to talk with the last athlete to make this traveling squad. Stay with us. We'll be right back. 1995 McDonald's World Team Trials has been brought to you by McDonald's, the official break of the Olympic Games. And it's all over but the shouting here, folks, as we take a look one more time at the official list of the athletes qualified to represent the United States at the World Championships in Japan later this year. The last member to make this cut, Donnie Thompson, who right now is with our own Kurt Thomas.
Donnie, you just made it. You were on floor exercise the last event. Did you know what you needed to go in?
I knew I just needed to hit my routines because they show the scores and you can't help but look over, so I just knew I had to hit and do my best.
It's kind of tough when you knock your teammate off the ladder there. She's going with you over there as the alternate, but that had to be tough for you. But did you feel like you could pull this out, even with your back injury?
Yeah, when it came down to the last event, I knew I could do it. I knew I had to give it a chance, and I'm very pleased with the outcome.
How's the back feeling now?
Well, it's pretty stiff now because of all the routines and stuff we did in the last 2 days, so, but that's okay because I'm going.
Yeah, making this world team helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, a lot.
So you're going to rest a little bit, or are you guys right into training for the actual competition?
I think we're going to take like a few days off maybe and then start up hard.
All right, well, congratulations, and back to you, John.
Thanks a lot, Kurt. And Mara, as we take a look at the squad that's been assembled, how do you think they'll do at the Japan World Championships?
Well, it's important to realize that the U.S. brought home the silver medal at last year's World Championships without the optionals help of Shannon Miller. This year, Shannon Miller will be there in full force, and a new rising star that we can't deny in Dominique Moceanu. I think the U.S. has an excellent chance of upholding their second-place finish from last year's World Championships.
Now, the U.S. squad's performance at the World Championships will be an indicator to how they're doing heading into the Centennial Olympic Games in Atlanta, Georgia. what might we expect as a result of what we've seen here?
Well, I think with the talent and depth that they have, it looks very good for Atlanta, especially, again, Amanda Borden is missing from this meet, and she will be looking toward the Olympic Games. In terms of polish, experience, and reputation, she will be missed at the World Championships. That is an undeniable fact. But I think in Atlanta, there's a chance for gold.
Now, Dominique Moceanu does not have a lot of international competition, but on the basis of what we saw here, could she be the next Mary Lou Retton?
She is a fighter. I am so impressed with her. A fierce competitor, so much talent, so much personality. I have no doubts in my mind that she could be the next Mary Lou, especially on the home turf in Atlanta.
Exciting competition and great results here in Austin, Texas, aside to the selection of the 1995 World Championship team. Be sure to watch tomorrow as we bring you the men's action from the McDonald's World Team Trials from the Longhorn campus in Austin, Texas. For now, though, thanks for joining us here. On behalf of my partners, Mara Driscoll and Kurt Thomas, I'm John Neighbor saying thanks for watching. Heading